against the Quest Mage, Zephyrus should be able to clear most of the board here. Now the weapon is a full board clear, that's really, really good for us. Even the minion being frozen can still attack. I think it's pretty awesome. So we have Loatheb in hand, we have Zola in hand, that's our next 2 turns sorted to lock him out of the game, and we have King Krush to finish. That's the plan. However, turn 8, he plays Time Warp. I was not expecting this so soon. I was hoping to buy one more turn where I could then Loatheb and lock him out. 3 giants get played. Oh, and he's not done. A second Flame Waker. And we are going to get absolutely smashed. Just take a moment to absorb this. And really, this is Quest Mage doing Quest Mage things. It's just how it is. It happens, right? But do not let that game put you off. It was just a demonstration of how powerful Quest Mage can still be in this meta. And I guess it's fine because I'm facing more Reno priests than Quest Mages, and this deck right here, Duwin's Reno N'Zoth Hunter, really seems to do well against priest, and that is quite a comforting fact given the state of the current meta. This is part 2 of our showcase. Part 1, which was the video I published last night, did feature a couple of games against Reno priest and really indicated that the power, the burst potential of this deck to take down a Reno priest, particularly when you have cards like King Krush in the deck, and the ability to summon King Krush onto the board not only from hand but through Katrina, through Dino Tamer Bran, and actually through 9 lives, triggering Katrina's death rattle. So multiple ways to put King Krush on the board, multiple ways to kill a Reno priest. That was the lesson from part 1 of our showcase. This is part 2, however, and we're just going to look at a couple more highlights of the deck in action on the Wild Mode ladder as proof to you that it does work very well. It is a do-win deck, which means it's fun and it's creative and it's also competitive. What more can you ask for from a deck?
Sylvanas versus
Okay, so here we go against a priest. Now in part 1 of the showcase, I talked in a bit more detail about how the deck works, what the different cards are, and a few hints and tips from Duwin. So if you're interested in that background information, check out part 1. So, Bran and Zephyrus. I made reference to this in the last video. This is a combo that I forgot existed, because this deck has its pressure from beasts, and it has pressure from death rattles, and I had just completely forgotten that you could play Bran and Zephyrus together and get 2 solutions to the problems on your board, because I've never needed to play the combo. I've always been in a position where, particularly against Priest, the deck has just been putting out substantial pressure in the first 9-10 turns of the game, that you're on the offensive a lot.
fools.
And so you don't need to be looking for solutions to problems on the board. Also now realise we have Bran, Zephyrus and Zola available to us. So on turn 8 we can play all 3. If we decide. But anyway, Witchwood Piper.
Come dance.
Usually in this deck to get you Zephyrus in an emergency situation. So, Shandar Wildclaw buffing the beasts in our deck I think that's fine. It's a bit of value on the stats. But I assume the most effective use of this card is to copy a King Krush and send it face on the board.
Share your thoughts with the class now.
And Shadow Essence into Mindrender. This doesn't seem right. I mean, he's playing Shadow Essence. So you think Big Priest. But if it's Big Priest, why would you play Mindrender?
Feel the breeze.
With the risk of Shadow Essence bringing it out. If you're Big Priest, you also probably play Yasharaj. So you could Shadow Essence into Yasharaj. Yasharaj pulls Mindrender onto the board. It doesn't make sense. Now, I just could have played Dino Brown on 7 and sent King Krush to the face, but I feel safer having 2 Loathebs in hand, because I don't know what the hell this deck is. And that's another Mindrender from another Shadow Essence. I shudder to think what else he's included in his deck if this is how this game is panning out.
This beast will not be tamed.
I like the idea of Loatheb here with Bran, complete lockout. We could have played Dino Tamer Bran with Bran, but it would not have been lethal. I mean, it would have been a lot of damage. Was that worth doing? Should we have pushed 16 King Krush damage to the face along with the rest of the damage that was on the board? Should we have done that? But then maybe he Psychic Screams, right? Loatheb here is locking him out completely. And that's a Ziliax. Well, I think we go for it here. Is this lethal? It has to be lethal, right? Surely this has to be lethal.
Push the attack.
There's no way of avoiding giving him the healing.
Look at me.
Oh, we're one off. We're one off lethal. Unbelievable. A bit of miscounting on my part. But the Loatheb survives. Hilarious. Oh boy. I mean, even if it didn't, we have Zephyrus in hand. We're still fine lethal. And Big Priest confirmed. Big Priest confirmed with Eternal Servitude. I still do not understand the Mindrender inclusion in this deck. But oh well. Very satisfying. Okay, so next game is against Warlock. And we know what all the rage is at the moment on the Wild Mode ladder. Dark Glare Warlock is what everyone's playing.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
So, I'm going to not play the tracking here. Based on one of the tips that Duwin provided in the last video, I guess tracking is used in a more of an emergency situation where you're trying to find something to deal with a problem on the board. But I assume this is not Dark Glare Warlock. Interesting. So I'm not sure what to commit here onto the board.
You want my respect?
Could have played the Bran, but maybe Bran gets more value later. So I'm just going to throw down Ace Hunter. Oh dear lord, that's a giant.
They're vulnerable.
Maybe I've screwed up my ordering here. Just thinking about this a little bit more. Maybe Ace Hunter was not what I should have committed on that turn.
So many possibilities.
Perhaps the Spider Bomb was what I should have played initially. And then maybe he wouldn't have played the Giant. I don't know. Because that Giant is really hurting our face.
Such a perfect specimen.
They're vulnerable.
And actually, do you want the Spider Bomb to be immune when attacking? Would you prefer it to die so it can kill the Giant, hopefully? So next turn we have Sylvanas, and Sylvanas could provide a solution to the Giant problem. Maybe. We are taking a lot of damage though. And all he's missing here is something like Sun Fury Protector.
Very clever.
To taunt up his giant. But anyway, how lucky do we feel with the Spider Bomb here?
They're vulnerable.
So I need to kill the Ace Hunter because I need the Spider Bomb to die. Interesting how that's all worked out for us. And we hit the wrong minion, of course. Okay, so we could just be dead here to a giant and a little bit more damage from hand. Maybe another Dark Bomb and something else. Do they play any other spells apart from Dark Bomb that could hit my face and kill me? Interesting. Wait, he's giving me a giant? For free?
Let none survive.
Maybe he felt he had no choice. Interesting. And one of the MVPs from our last video is Swamp King Dred, who absolutely gobbled up all of the minions that a Demon Hunter was playing, one after another. Let's see if he could do the same against this Warlock. And I was pondering a concede, thinking I may well be dead somehow, but actually, I think I'm in an okay position here. And we just need to survive a couple more turns, and then it's King Krush to the face, hopefully for the win. Gosh, Swamp King Dred, I think, is really posing a problem for him here. Perhaps more of a problem than Sylvanas, actually, from that last turn. Oh, there's some healing. Okay, he now may feel a little bit more safe with that health total.
The moment is upon us.
Ooh, Loatheb, Katrina. I like Loatheb here. Because we can play him on this turn and lock out any other critical spell shenanigans. Especially if he's got another Spellstone charged up. That's now locked him out. And now he has to consider what minions to play onto this board. With Swamp King Dred ready and waiting.
I wonder.
Oh, okay. It only ate up one minion, but it was a significant minion. It was a 7/7, and he has nothing else to do. And that's just lethal. That's what we were waiting for. That was a really good game. Wow. So, Sylvanas, Swamp King Dred, I think, both of those cards turning out to be the MVPs in that last game. So, as I've played the games showcased in this video, there are some questions here that I think need to be asked. Against the Warlock, how long should I have held tracking for? Should I have used it earlier to look for Reno Jackson, perhaps, given that my face was being absolutely battered by the Warlock, by the Giant? Should I have used tracking to try and urgently find Reno, rather than relying on the Sylvanas and the Swamp King Dred to get me out of the situation? Against the Priest, I had Bran, and I had Dino Tamer Bran, which would have been a King Krush 16 damage, sort of double King Krush to the face for 16. And I had the opportunity to do that at one point, but I held off, and I went for Loatheb instead. Was that the correct play? Should I just have delivered the 16 damage, even though it was not lethal, and just have been happy dealing that significant damage? Was it worth doing, even if it wasn't lethal? That's another important question. And Shandao Wildclaw. I've played Shandao in this video as a turn 3 buff for the rest of my deck. Should I just have held back completely and waited until the mid to late game when I can get a copy of a beast on the board? Do you always hold back on Shandao, or do you just play it as a 3/3? It's buffing your deck, but that's not having any immediate impact on the board. So do you just play it as a 3/3 on turn 3, or do you hold it back? So another important question. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you once again to Duwin for this masterful deck. I did notice that in part 1 of our showcase, there were a couple of comments from viewers telling me that they either had all of the cards or most of the cards. So if you have been giving this deck a try, tell me what you think about it in the comments section below. How's it been working out for you? It is 23,080 dust. It is very, very expensive. So if you don't have many of the cards, then you may not want to commit all of this dust, unless you are absolutely sure that you want to play Reno Hunter and that you love playing Hunter. But if you do commit and you do play this deck, as I say, tell us how you feel about it. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comments section below and Duwin will respond. He is the expert after all. So thank you for joining me, everyone. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all again very soon, as always, for more Wild Mode fun.